and welcome to another speed build in The Sims 3. Today we are working with the Aluna Island, and that is a custom island, custom world. It was created by the Sim Supply, so I'll leave a link to it down in the description below if you would like to download it. This lot, I'm not sure the lot name or the address or anything like that. I'll put that also in the description, that way you know where to place the house if you were to download it. But this house was done strictly on diagonal, and I did that because I wanted to have diagonal stairs, and you'll see what I mean by diagonal stairs when we get to the front porch area. But in order to create that look, your lot needs to be on a diagonal itself. So like I said, we'll see that when we get to the front of the house. But the stairs here were really just not wanting to work for me at all. As you can see, we do eventually get them figured out. I had to put, the constrained floor elevation though on in order to get them, to place. But we were finally able to do that. Must not have been a perfect level down, I guess, or something, maybe like an odd number of stairs. I'm not too sure what was causing the problem. And if you're wondering what that clicking noise in the background of the video is, when I was recording, I forgot to turn on the recorder, it has an option to record game sounds, and I forgot to turn that off. But that does go away. I do eventually realize it during one of the breaks that I took while I was building this house. I realized that I had that on, so it does eventually get turned off. But anyway, now we're just kind of working on the front porch, or basically the roofing, actually, for that matter. But yeah, there's noises from the game. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to, when I edit it, I'll try to turn those down a little bit, see if I can turn the volume of those sounds down. But anyway, when you're doing a diagonal lot, the roofing can be a little bit different. It's not quite as easy to work with. Sometimes it has a little bit more issues when the lot is on a diagonal than if it were, if the lot wasn't on a diagonal. So basically that's kind of what we're going through right now, just going through this and trying to get the roofing to work, trying to get it to look the way I want it to look. Because like I said, it just wasn't wanting to go in quite right. It wasn't wanting to line up properly and all kinds of other things. But we eventually get it taken care of, and you're starting to see the way the house is going to end up looking. Like I said, it's kind of a beach cottage type of look. And when I decorated it, I also tried to decorate it as much as I could as if it was, on a beach, something that you would probably see. So again, the roof causing more problems. It kept thinking for some reason or another that something was in the way or something. It's hard to say with roofing sometimes what the problem is. But anyway, now we're getting into the part where I wanted to do diagonal stairs, and right there is where you can kind of see it. The house, with the direction it is, the house and the stairs are, not in the same direction. That kind of just gives it a different look, and sometimes having stairs always in the front or always on the side, going in a straight, direction, it gets boring sometimes. So I had wanted to do something a little bit different this time by having the stairs on a diagonal. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Now I know in the collab that I had just done in the German cottage, I called it Chestnut Cottage, I believe. I also have diagonal stairs in that one as well. However, this house here was built probably close to a month ago. I've just been busy with other builds and a few other requests and stuff like that, so this one kind of got put on hold on being uploaded. I had others to do as well, and everything else. But anyway, just going through and just trying to finish up a few more little touches. I decided I wanted to put a pergola on this back deck back here, so that's kind of what we're working on now. And I'm kind of picky a little bit when I'm putting banisters. I don't like it to look like they're not, meant to be there. Sometimes you put them in and they just, they don't look quite right. I don't want it to look like the railing is kind of poking through or anything like that. So sometimes when I'm putting in banister, or not the banisters, but the poles and everything, they sometimes take me a little bit because, like I said, I am rather picky on where they're sitting. So anyway, just going through and just getting rid of a few more of the little tidbits from the roof, and now we're going to place the stairs, which also gives it another unique look when you put a house on a diagonal. Is your stairs on the inside also will be on a diagonal, so that makes it look kind of nice, a little bit different. Different than what we normally see, where the stairs are always in line and going straight with everything all the time. But anyway, the floor plan wasn't too bad on figuring out. However, I did make a mistake in my floor plan, and you'll see later, the farther we get in. I didn't realize this until I had gone to furnish that room, that I had made a mistake. But it turns out I ended up not changing the floor plan because I actually had paused my recording and sat here and kind of looked at it for a while, just trying to see what could I do to fix it without changing a lot of what I had already done, because the house, for the most part, the whole downstairs was completely decorated by the time I found this mistake. So, but we get it figured out. So here I'm just kind of picking like a beach color, so kind of like a light blue to go with the ocean water is kind of what I was thinking. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Now the lighting in some areas of it makes the roof look like it's green, but I assure you it is blue. So the first piece I put on, you always want to make sure you put it on where the sun is hitting it, that way you get the true color. Natural lighting is always best. But it was blue, so different times of the day it might look a little bit different. But just going through and kind of finishing up and putting a little bit of shaker siding up on the peaks there, just to give it another, a little bit more interest, a little bit more to look at. So now just placing our banisters, or not the banisters, I don't know why I keep saying that, our poles or whatever they're called. But I try to keep the whole house to a beach feel. So everything, when it came to my decorating everything with this house, like I said, I wanted it to stick with the beach feel. So, and I wanted the door to be more centered, and as you could see with it being on a diagonal, that just was not going to happen. That's one thing that's tricky about building on a diagonal. Any of your wall hangings, your windows, your doors, they're not going to go in quite the same. So sometimes you just kind of have to deal with whatever it is that you're trying to do. It doesn't always go quite right, and I always have troubles picking out doors and windows anyway. Normally doors are easier for me than windows, but windows, sometimes I think I spend more time trying to figure out a window for one wall than I do any other part of the house. For some reason I just struggle trying to find windows. As you can see, I went through and deleted all the windows I'd put in, and because I had found, like I said, building on diagonal is a little bit trickier, so we needed to use different windows, that way we could put them more in the center, because it didn't look right having a window on each side. So I needed a window that I could put in that would sit more in the center, and that's why we ended up changing it. So, but anyway, sorry about that. I'm not sure if you maybe heard that really high squealing noise. Like I said, I had forgot to turn the microphone, or not really the microphone, but the recording of the computer sounds off. And what you just heard was just some music I was listening to at the time while I was building, and music sped up, sounds like chipmunks. So I apologize for that. I had to turn turn my my speakers down real quick, that way it didn't get recorded too much into my commentary here. But now we're just kind of working on, going into the interior part. I keep most of everything in a light wood color this time, than using, a warm wood tone. And we try using beach colors, so we have this really nice bright green to kind of go again with beach colors and stuff like that, the ocean water and things like that. So this first room here is going to be the living room, and I wanted to make sure that it would be plenty of, like, not completely an open concept, but I wanted it to have a little bit of an open feel. So we're just trying to figure out exactly how we want to do this. That way, they're separated, but at the same time you can still socialize with anybody in the living room while you're in the kitchen. That's always nice. Here where I live, the kitchen is completely closed off. This house that I'm in was built in 1900, so it's a 116-year-old house, and the kitchen's completely closed off. So whenever you're in there, and your possibly your family is here, or or friends, or whoever that happens to be over, you can't socialize with anybody because you're kind of in there all by yourself. So I always try, not always in my builds, but I do try to have a little bit of an open concept in some way or another, because since we don't have that here, sometimes I build based on something I would like to have. But anyway, we're just trying to figure out the counters. Again, with it being on a diagonal, that makes it a little bit more tricky. Trying to place, you have to use move objects on, and then you have to take off the snapping. That way you can just kind of wedge in your counters and stuff where you want them. And it was just, as you can see, it was a little bit of a mess, but we eventually get it figured out. So, but anyway, I put in the baker's oven or whatever it is. I thought that would be a nice addition to this house with it being on the beach. I just had this idea in my head of warm pies cooling by the by an open window, and the smell of them, and so I just thought it looked nice. That is store content, so I'm sorry if that's something you don't have, but the oven is a store item. So, but now we're just going through and doing some more of the coloring, and again wanting to have kind of the beach feel and colors. So we have a little bit of still kind of green, because I wanted it to go with the living room wallpaper since they were touching, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. So they're both green, but they're kind of a little bit of a different shade of green. So I think that flower I put on there, I think, is also from the bakery. I'm not sure about that pie though. I'm not sure if that pie was store content or not, but those breadsticks are. That I do know. Those breadsticks are, but I'm not sure about the pie. I have no idea. I just remember I seen it in there and thought that would go nicely with that baker's oven, so kind of why I threw it in there, and some sunflowers and some window treatments always make it nice and warm and cozy, and it adds a little bit to privacy if you want to close them. Just going through trying to figure out what colors I want to do and things like that. So I use these curtains quite often, but I have a tendency to always keep the same pattern all of the time, and I thought this time, why not change the pattern up a little bit. So now going through it and doing the rugs, because you're on the beach, so that's a lot of sand, lots of sand on your feet, to rub off and get all over the place. So you need lots of rugs, so lots of rugs around the house. And I kind of was basing it off of the sunflower painting that we hung up, and those jars or containers or whatever that also have sunflowers. So we kind of have a little bit of the rugs and curtains kind of going off of that color scheme, just to add a little bit difference in color. so it's not so much of a greenish blue color throughout the whole house. So I thought this would be a nice touch. And just adding again some more curtains and giving them, I think I give them the same, no, I don't give them the same pattern. I'm not sure what I do, what that was exactly, but just going through and adding a few more details here and there and getting the candles to match up with the colors, kind of like an orange copper color. I'm not really 100% certain what color you would call that exactly, so just adding a little bit of some visual interest with those pillars and a nice bookshelf. Always need to have bookshelves, so give your Sims something to read anyway. Like I said, we went with a lot of the whiter colored wood because I just felt that that kind of went better with being on the beach. I'm not really too sure why I think of white wood when I think of beach, but whenever I build on the beach, that seems to be the scheme that I end up using, the colors. So here again, we're just kind of, what I ended up using was the wicker furniture that's in the game, because again, that seemed more beachy, having the wicker furniture. It just seemed to go much nicer, and a glass table. So I tried to make it as much as I could. I can't remember if we keep the chairs blue or not. I can't quite remember. So, but just adding a few different things here and there, some stuff for the Sims to do. And creating this piano is a little bit tricky because you can only put, you'll see it again here in a little bit, because I like to put a shelf on top of that bookshelf so you can stack things and everything up there. But with being on a diagonal, the bookshelf wasn't wanting to go, or not the bookshelf, but just the regular shelf wasn't really wanting to do what I wanted it to do. So you'll see here in a little bit I gotta end up changing that. So I was trying to make that a little bit of a computer nook, but it wasn't really wanting to work. So I found these bookshelves that are kind of odd shaped anyway, like a puzzle piece, and thought those would look really nice in that corner. So we ended up doing this kind of a desk instead. Thought that worked much nicer like that anyway. That way they at least have a computer desk. I can't remember if I put a computer on it or not, but there is a desk if they need the computer or anything like that, and a few extra chairs in case you have company. Always nice to have extra chairs. And just going around and doing knickknacks and stuff. That phone I put there is the vintage rotary phone, and I believe that it's also store content, but it comes free if you have Generations. So if you have Generations and you haven't gotten that phone yet, once you register it on the website, you will get the free gift, and that phone is part of the free gift. So looks like we're finally deciding what color scheme we wanted the furniture to be. And it looks like I went with kind of a pink color, I guess. I don't remember it being that color, but that kind of looks kind of nice. We got the browns and the leaves and stuff on the rugs, but then the furniture has that nice pink. That does look nice. I like that. I completely forgot I had done that. But anyway, see right here we're putting that shelf. As you can see, the piano wasn't quite in the right spot because of it being in a diagonal, so we had to do it all over again. So, but those pianos do work. If you ever see any of my houses that has a piano, most of the time that's the piano it is, just because they take up less space. And who doesn't like an old-fashioned upright piano anyway? But anyway, they do work. If you're wondering, they do work. Your Sim can sit down and play the piano and learn a skill. So, and they're cheaper than the grand piano. So, but they do want to try to get the books out of the bookshelf. So, just empty the books and delete them or something, and then it'll be fine. So, not a problem there. But just going through and putting some more stuff. I think I left this desk open. That way the Sims can, I don't know if they can do homework at the desk or not. But if they want to write letters or something like that. So, but here's where we're also seeing a little bit of the harder parts with wall hangings. They don't go quite in the same places, like they'll be farther apart. That's why I made those one paintings offset. That way they didn't seem quite so far apart from each other. But I still, try to get as many. Okay, here we go. That explains the pink. I end up changing the coloring altogether in this room. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so I guess it's not going to be green in the living room. If you were hoping for green, I'm sorry, but looks like now it's like a taupe color or some kind of, I don't know, it's not really red, it's not really brown, I don't know exactly what it is, but just going through and doing some more, wall hangings. I like my Sims to have the very well decorated moodlet as much as I can, so I tried to add as many things as I possibly could. Here is where I had noticed I had made a mistake. There was no door going into this room, and there was no bathroom downstairs. So like I said, this is where I discovered that, and you don't see where I sit here and stare at it, because like I said, I did that off camera, but I decided, you know what, I have seen many beach houses on TV and in magazines where you sometimes have to go outside to go to another room. And I thought, you know what, this fits perfectly. We're on the beach. This is a beach house, and you need to go outside out on your deck to get to the master bedroom and to go to the bathroom. But it ends up working. I do think it looks nice. It seems to fit this house by doing that. So I think I put a bathroom upstairs. I believe I do, because there are, more bedrooms. So pretty sure I do. But anyway, we're just going through and adding some more furniture. I used a lot of that wicker furniture because it looks just good with a house like this. But anyway, now just going through and seeing if maybe I can get a window in there or something like that. Sometimes I take away a window or add a window, based on what the floor plan ends up being. I usually build the outside first, and then the interior usually goes with whatever I built, but every now and then a window just either needs to be, is necessary, it needs to be there, or sometimes it's just flat out in the way, so I get rid of it. So I'm just going through and adding a few more things, and the bed was a little off center, because in order to get anything close to the wall, you have to move objects on in order to do that, and sometimes they get a little off center, but that's okay, it's an easy fix. So just going through and again adding some more little details and a few things here and there, and just making it look a little bit more lived in. A few more things here and there, as much clutter as I can possibly get. I always like to cut clutter. But anyway, just going through, and I think this is kind of like a purplish color is what this room ends up being. Just a kind of a nice light color, nothing too bright or anything like that. So after all, it is a master bedroom, and it needs to be, I guess, a little bit romantic, I guess is kind of how I look at it. And then this is going to be the master bathroom. And again, it's a little bit tricky because of being on the diagonal, but we end up getting it. We do have this wall here. It looks like it is a straight wall, so that made furnishing or putting things in a little bit easier. So not exactly sure what I'm trying to do there with the window or the door or whatever I was doing. I can't remember what I had in mind, but going to go through and figure out what kind of walls and stuff like that we want. So I like to have backsplashes because I just see it as an easier way to clean. You wouldn't be able to clean some of the, you can't clean painted walls as easily, so that's why I always try to do like a backsplash of some sort. So not sure what color scheme we're trying to come up with here. I think it's supposed to be some kind of a purple color. Yeah, that looks like that's what I ended up choosing. Some kind of like a purplish pink color. Not sure why I chose that, but that's the color we end up going with. And then of course you always want to tile behind your shower. That always looks nice doing that. So, but just again going through and doing a little bit more, more of the decorating and wallpapers and everything. And I never know what to talk about during these commentaries. I really don't. I just have no idea. If you have anything you'd like me to talk about or anything like that, that's fine. Just let me know in the description below or in the comments below, and we can always have some kind of topic going on, something to talk about, because I never know. I get talking about the house and we'll be going really good, and then all of a sudden it just like I just draw a blank. I just don't have anything to say. We're just doing the same thing we've been doing throughout the whole house with this bathroom. All we're doing is cluttering it up and choosing the wall theme and colors and stuff like that. And you can only say that so many times because there's so many rooms. So here lately, though, I have found that I have been ranting on about my crappy computer. I don't think we need to complain about that this time, because we've done enough of that already. So, but if there's anything you want me to talk about or something, it doesn't really matter. Just leave it in the comments below. Just going through and doing the landing up there. That is the one thing I really miss about building in Sims 4. I still haven't really found myself building too much in that game yet. It's still not my preferred game to build in. I like doing an open staircase like this with the open, I'm not even sure what you would call it, a balcony like type of area. And depending on the style of house in Sim 4, the darn roof will come back and haunt you. It really does. And sometimes I just get so mad because I'll have this idea in my head of what I want this house to look like and certain things on the interior that I want to have. That darn roof just gets in the way, and it just, oh my gosh, I hate that roof glitch that it does in that game. It drives me nuts. So yeah, when it comes to, I don't mind building in The Sims 4. I guess I kind of thought, when I first heard Sims 4 was coming out, I thought, this would be awesome because it should be an improvement from The Sims 3, and I love building in The Sims 3, and this is going to be awesome. And then it comes out, and I see the first few speed builds of it, because I'm still unsure whether or not I want to spend the money on it, because that's a lot of money. You don't want to spend that kind of money on a game and then absolutely hate it, and then never play it at all. And I'm watching some of the builds on it, and I'm listening to the other YouTubers talk about it and seeing some of the things that they can't do and can do, and it took me a while before I even bought the game, because there were just so many things about it that I was very disappointed in. I can understand trying to do something with the amount of patterns that we have, because sometimes it does take a little bit to load up all those patterns. I do have to admit, sometimes I find myself sitting here waiting on a fresh game for something to load too. But do they really have to get rid of the color wheel? Seriously, did they have to do that? They'll give you only a couple of colors on some of the items, and then another item will have a ton of colors, but they won't be the same colors. Like, you can't, even if it was just the same color but a different shade, just something that we can go off of. But they don't. It's like, I love the color wheel. I'm sorry, but I absolutely love it. And whenever I'm in building that game, I just miss that color wheel so much. I'm okay with the lack of patterns. That's fine. That don't bother me too much. but I would like to be able to change up those patterns with a different color. Sometimes I'll find this one pattern I really, really like, but I absolutely hate the chosen colors. I mean, they look awful, some of them colors. Like your curtains, for instance, they all are like ugly and crappy looking, and the colors just flat out suck. You know, if I could just throw a color wheel on it and change the color, that would be wonderful. I think it would, just the color wheel is all I ask. They can keep whatever patterns, you know, they have, you know, to keep limiting on the patterns, that's fine, but I don't see why we can't just have the color wheel. That would just make my decorating skills anyway a lot happier. Because I just have this thing where a mismatched room just really, really bugs me. So it's really hard. I mean, super hard. I don't think I could ever do a challenge where the room had to be mismatched. I don't think I could handle doing that. I think it would drive me nuts. Too much. I don't think I could do it. But there are a few things about it that I think is really nice, and too bad The Sims 3 didn't have it, you know, where you can move the windows, for instance, up and down. That's the one thing I absolutely love about The Sims 4. But, you know, I'm okay with the fact that The Sims 3 doesn't have that. I mean, that's okay. It's not gonna, you know, it's not that terrible. But it's definitely nice. I do enjoy that aspect of it. But here we are again in this room, this bathroom. Now you can see the trouble you have of a bathroom that does have nothing but diagonal walls. This is the stuff that you end up going through trying to get figured out because the walls are on a diagonal. Nothing fits. I mean, your mirrors are all weird locations. I can't even remember what mirror I end up doing, what I go with. That must be the one I go with since I stopped looking. But oh my gosh, this bathroom was driving me nuts. I went through so many different objects trying to place them, and oh my goodness. But it ends up looking nice in the end. I mean, we have a nice counter there. Too bad it couldn't be a double sink, but you know, it does look nice. So nice for a guest bathroom. It has a little bit of everything, your shower and the bathtub. So could end up being a little bit on the larger side, but it's nice. I do like it. So, but anyway, kind of trailed off onto a different topic there, but I don't know. I mean, as of right now, that's why you don't see a whole lot of builds from me from Sims 4. I guess I'm still kind of waiting to see if maybe, you know, other stuff will, you know, be added. Like that roof glitch really drives me nuts. I mean, sometimes I just stop building altogether and I just don't even go back to it for a long time because it just irritates me, some of the glitches that it has. And of course I'm not an experienced builder either. I do know from watching other people that there are still a few little tricks with the roof and stuff like that that can be done that I just haven't learned, and that's okay. I'm okay with, you know, not knowing everything quite yet. I mean, I don't build in it all the time, and even if I did look it up now or try to find a few different things about it, I'd probably forget by the time I went to play it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I guess I'm just kind of hoping, you know, to be able to you know, just kind of wait and just see. Hopefully they add more. I hope they do. I have heard through the grapevine that there's a possibility for Sims 5. Now, I absolutely love building, but I'm going to be really upset if that's not an improvement. I mean, each game is supposed to be improvements, right? I mean, I just feel like we went backwards going from The Sims 3 to The Sims 4. I just feel like we went backwards instead of forward. But anyway, just kind of finishing up. This video ended up being a little bit longer than usual, but not quite long enough to do a part 1 and part 2. It's about 39 minutes exact. And I just didn't think it would be worth putting a part 1, part 2 if they were only going to be 19.5 minutes long each. That just seemed kind of like a waste, you know what I mean? It just seemed like a waste. And most of the time people don't always watch part 2 anyway, so I don't know. They probably won't even sit here and watch all of this one either. I have no idea. I mean, and it's okay if you don't. I definitely understand. I do find myself as well watching a video, and sometimes I, exit out of it before it's over, but a lot of times I do find myself going back to that build though and finishing it, just because, just because I couldn't sit there for the 30 minutes doesn't mean I, not interested to see what else they did. So you never know what you're going to learn from somebody else's build. Like for instance, like right here, what I'm doing is removing some of the pillars from underneath, because when you do the stilted foundation like that, you get like a ton of these stilt things, underneath. Just going around and doing some more of the terrain painting. With it being on the beach, I really didn't feel it too necessary to add too much. So we do end up adding some trees. I wanted to try to pick some trees that are throughout the world, and the oak tree is in the world, and some of these palm trees you'll see throughout the world as well, and then the azaleas, and I can't think what that flower is, but yeah, just trying to add some of the decorations or some of the scenery that you would see throughout the world, just so it looks like it goes with the world. And a lot of the plants in this island are around trees and stuff like that, just kind of scattered about with no rhyme or reason behind them. And so just adding a little bit more trees right there, just trying to help fill it in a little bit. So but yeah, just going through and doing some more terrain painting, trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. And this is pretty much about it for the exterior, other than just a little bit more of the terrain painting. Landscaping is for the most part all taken care of. Still do a little bit, as you can see, some more underneath, because of course the sun wouldn't be hitting there, so making it a little bit darker, a little bit more shaded. But we're getting ready to be going into the screenshots. I hope you enjoyed this build. It was a lot of fun to create, with it being on the diagonal. It definitely gives a little bit of a challenge to build on a complete diagonal like this, so that was definitely a nice challenge, and it was fun to do. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.